Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. This is your brother Qadar of GMS Gulf Coast, and I'd like to start by giving infinite honor, praise, and glory to the Most High and His Son Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rekakwadash. Double honors are given up to the elder apostles as well as the elders of Great Millstone, the bishops of Great Millstone, as well as the heads of camps of Great Millstone and Great Millstone by and large. Also, a shalom goes out to the sincere Akim that go out and push this word with all true faith and sincerity, preaching 100% truth, as well as calling on the names Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. And last but not least, a shalom goes out to the sincere men, women, and children who have come back to your obedience of the scriptures and are calling on the names Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. To you all, shalom. I was sitting up here looking at a clip of the head of our camp, Brother Yaitazar, had put out Gaza 2035. I was actually reading into that, into some, and just through the spirit, man. I guess I got pulled off because as I was reading, a little word popped out of the legislation. I mean, out of that particular agenda, and it went into transhumanism. So through the spirit, this lesson is being motivated by that clip that I was reading, Gaza Project 2035, which the brother had sparked that. The brother Yaitazar had sparked that read. But this is where it had taken me. Check this out. I was reading. Check this out, well, first and foremost, Lord willing, this be edifying. Lord willing, you can take something from this. We're going to try our best through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushai and marry this to the scriptures. These agendas that Esau Edom, these governments employing, they're actually implementing these things. You know what I'm saying? As we see, Donald Trump again has taken office, and again he has hit the ground running. He signed a slew of executive orders, and as they say in the world, the devil's in the details. But I wanted to just touch on something, as you can see right there, democratic transhumanism. I was like, democratic transhumanism. And again, this was spawned off a reading that I was doing from the head of camp, Brother Yaitazar, going into that demolition of Gaza and how they're trying to build these 15-minute cities, move into this one world order. But let me not get too far off track. Check this out. I want to read this here. Let's see. I'm going to come back down to that. And it reads right here, what is transhumanism? Transhumanism. It says different thinkers, even different transhumanism advocates have different ways of understanding the movement. So this is a movement. And it's going to be tied to Revelation, the 13th chapter, the 16th verse, more or less. You feel what I'm saying? But let's read. It says the term transhumanism was coined in 1957 by Julian Huxley Sr. and Julian Sorrell Huxley in 1887, 1995, 1975. Okay, Sir Huxley. Okay, I guess that's when he was born in the late 1800s and died shortly after I come into the world. 1995. It says was an English biologist. Again, you see it. Philosopher, educator, and the author of the transhumanist masterpiece, New Bottles for New Wine. It says he is considered the father of transhumanism. He is also the first Director General of the UNESCO, as well as the grandson of biologist T.H. Huxley. Huxley. He was greatly influenced by new developments and, you see that word, systematics and studies of behavior and evolution. Now, when you get into the evolution, you think of that Darwin's, where you got those different species and whatnot. But anyway, it says for Huxley, transhumanism is shorthand for evolutionary humanism. Evolutionary humanism is upspringly a philosophy centered on human evolution. Evolutionary humanists do not view human beings as as the pinnacle of creation. So you get a sense that he's trying to create something in his own image. You follow what I'm saying? Because the Lord created man in his image. You know what I'm talking about? The more emphatically the Israelite man. You feel what I'm saying? Because we carry the law, statutes, commandments. He's dealing with only us. So and you can't help but believe that this this evil man, to my so-called white man, whose biblical nationality is Esau, Edom, he understands that he's not created in the image of the Heavenly Father. He's actually an adversary. He's everything that the Lord has set up. He does the contrary. So he cannot be the image of the Lord. You feel what I'm saying? So he says right here, look at this. It says, centered around humanism. It says evolutionary humanists do not view human beings. And when you get in the word hue, man of color, beings as the pinnacle of creation, but instead as the unintended product of what? Natural selection. And that goes into that Darwinian, that Darwin evolution theory. You feel what I'm saying? The strong survive. You know what I'm talking about? That, that type of madness. Let's see real quick. Okay, we're going to just stick with what we got here. So it says, but instead as an unintended product of natural selection. It's unintended. If in other words, in so many words, if he had anything with it to do with it, and this goes back to that blessing that the Lord bestowed upon Jacob. Our forefather Isaac had gave him the blessing that was intended for Esau, but we knew through the Spirit how it was foretold, how it was written. There was always in it the blessing was always going to be given to Jacob. You know what I'm talking about? But Esau, this is what this. When you look at the inner workings or listen to his literature, and what he writes and what he says, and if the Lord is dealing with you by way of these scriptures, you understand what he's doing with all this. Transhumanism, merging man with machine, trying to make a better person. You know what I'm talking about? I got a little clip here I'm going to show here in just a minute where they talking about they can cure cancer and all these things. These are the things that he created. And in the end, he creates a problem, but he comes in as the superhero who has all the answers to get rid of all the problems. This is how he's setting himself up to be. This is a mere man, as it says in the book of Ezekiel. He's not a god, he's a man. You feel what I'm saying? But he's setting himself up to be looked at as a god. You know what I'm talking about? He got all the answers and whatnot. As a matter of fact, let me pause this real quick. I want you to listen to this here, just to kind of give credence to what I'm saying. Listen to this. The statement I just made. I made an assertion or an allegation of how he has the solutions to all the problems, right, through his AI. This right here was a video I was looking at. $1 billion slaughter bots, godfather of AI, shows how AI will kill us, how to avoid it. But I was listening to this video and something caught my attention as well. Check this out.
That jumped up chimpanzees like us have. And when AIs are capable of doing AI research, will firms resist the urge to add 10,000 unpaid engineers? If you believe, as Altman does, that AI is just a tool, then it might seem safe, but many experts would find this extremely dangerous, risking an intelligence explosion.
What happens when you have a system that's sufficiently smarter than you that it can build another system with different and better scaling properties? Because the technology we have now is not the limits of cognitive technology. This is us throwing giant vats of chemicals together, very inefficiently turning it into minds. And if you have an AI that knows how to build a more efficient system, that is probably game over.
And it may not be far away.
The probability that AGI could happen soon is high enough that we should take it seriously.
Sam Altman was once blunt about extinction.
I think AI will probably, most likely sort of lead to the end of the world, but in the meantime, there will be great companies created with serious machine learning.
OpenAI and Microsoft are reportedly planning a $100 billion supercomputer with millions of AI chips. And the sources believe that combined with recent breakthroughs like QStar, it could enable AI to self-improve while creating synthetic data to accelerate progress. A 50% chance of doom shortly after AI reaches human level. That's from the man who led alignment at OpenAI. And the plans are a huge leap, increasing compute by over 100 times. Hinton says dangerously smart AI doesn't require any breakthroughs, only more scale, because neural nets already have advantages over us. Like Atlas, AI doesn't need to follow biological rules. Elon Musk is suing OpenAI, calling it a grave threat to humanity. He says it puts profit before safety, but the firm says that Musk wanted to fold it into Tesla. Robots will take AI to another level, giving it a clear grasp of the physical world. And with robots now run by neural nets, there may be an unspoken lie that we know how they work and we're completely in control. I'm sure Altman wants to lead the AI race so he can steer it in a positive direction.
The increase in quality of life that AI can deliver is extraordinary. We can make the world amazing. We can cure diseases, we can increase material wealth, we can help people be happier, more fulfilled.
And by winning, he'll be hoping to save us from the worst outcome.
You heard that? He said AI can help us in so many different ways. We can cure cancer, let's let him hear that. Let's hear that again. Now, they have to have a horse to ride in on to introduce you to, because like he said, one of the guys said, this is just the beginning. There will be smarter and smarter AI programs building off on top of one another, you know what I'm talking about? But in the same sense, they saying how this AI technology can actually help, let's let him say it again.
There may be an unspoken lie that we know how they work and we're completely in control. I'm sure Altman wants to lead the AI race so he can steer it in a positive direction.
The increase in quality of life that AI can deliver is extraordinary. We can make the world amazing. We can cure diseases, we can increase material wealth, we can help people be happier, more fulfilled.
And by winning,
we can create more material wealth, people be happy. This is them creating the world in their likeness. You follow what I'm saying? If you see it, listen to what they're saying. How's the world in the shape that it's in now? It's because of the very people who are sitting here speaking calmly and as a matter of factly. You know what I'm talking about? You can't be sonade by the body language and and the graphics and whatnot. That end all be all plan is very evil. It is not to promote life as we know it, as the Heavenly Father Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, has set it up from the beginning. You understand? And for him to be speaking so smooth and as a matter of fact, just sitting calm and relaxed and actually showing all the progress, you know what I'm saying, You have to be awakened out of that trance and understand who you're really dealing with. Because they say, he says, but he speaks for a lot, for those who's actually running the world, that they can improve life. Let's let him say it again.
There may be an unspoken lie that we know how they work and we're completely in control. I'm sure Altman wants to lead the AI race so he can steer it in a positive direction.
The increase in quality of life that AI can deliver is
the increase in quality of life. Who has made life so miserable? Who has done that? Who has made food that creates cancers and all types of health ailments? You feel what I'm saying? When you leave the confines of the United States, you still have some areas of the world where fruits grow on trees, like the Heavenly Father had it set up. Every plant shall bear its own fruit and reproduce that way. But you can leave the United States and go to a United States territory or a state like Hawaii. And once you leave LAX, they'll give you a piece of paper of what you can and cannot take to the island. And if in doing so, you have to go back through immigrations and be checked, all this, make sure that you're not bringing anything back that you shouldn't be bringing back to the United States. Fruits and veggies and things of that sort there, somebody that may bear fruit. That may have seeds. You feel what I'm saying? And they'll label on it, you bringing something over here that will throw the balance, the ecosystem off over here. You know what I'm talking about? But low key, what they're doing is keeping everybody in a confined bubble over here in the U.S. and slowly but surely poisoning you. Because in the end, they're going to emerge themselves as the saviors. You feel what I'm saying? We can greatly improve let's let them say it one more time.
In control. I'm sure Altman wants to lead the AI race so he can steer it in a positive direction.
the increase in quality of life that AI can deliver is extraordinary. We can make the world amazing. We can cure diseases. We can increase material wealth. We can help people be happier, more fulfilled.
And by winning,
increase material wealth. Listen to all the carnal things that he's promising you. When the Heavenly Father is promised us unimaginable things. The scriptures that give you a glimpse into what the Lord has in store for you. You know, the scriptures only give you a glimpse into what the Lord has in store for you. This man has messed up planet Earth so bad that it's going to have to be shaken up, burn up, you know what I'm talking about? And then let things settle in for a day or so under the Lord, as concerning a day with the Lord, in order to get things back on track. That's how out of whack this earth is. But his little pale behind, you feel what I'm saying, and those who fund him and back him, talking about how they can make it material wealth, cure diseases. Blasphemy. When they have a place over there in Georgia called the CDC. What's the purpose of keeping diseases around for? If you're going to go ahead and eradicate them, you follow what I'm saying? I mean, you got to listen to what the man is saying and then watch what he's doing. You know, it's confusion. And we know that the Lord is not the author of confusion. So we cannot be swayed by, brilliant public speakers. You know what I'm talking about? So that's what this is. It's just a brilliant performance, because in the end, all his efforts lead to death. So let me get back to transhumanism. I just wanted to bring that in there. Again, they're going to set themselves up as the heroes. So we're back. Let's make sure we record. I don't want to be doing all this and not recording. Okay, we go. So we're back on a document, on quote unquote, when it was coined about transhumanism. You feel what I'm saying? And centered around human evolution. It says evolutionary humanists do not view human beings as the pinnacle of creation. Okay, so he's stating his purpose. You know what I'm talking about? We're gonna do better than the original design. You follow what I'm saying? Going back to that Darwin bull. You know what I'm talking about? But instead, But it says, but instead, as the unintended product of natural selection, evolutionary humanists hold the option that human life evolved from a single organism and is still evolving. See that? And you're still evolving. So human nature is not static. Rather, we are evolving from one state to another. So he's staking his claim where he can put his patent in you. This is all centered around this Revelations, the 13th chapter, verse 16. It says, under evolutionary humanists, humanity makes a deliberate effort to transcend itself, not just sporadically. See that? Sporadically. Not just sporadically. You feel what I'm saying? So everything that the Lord has designed, it's a sporadic thing. You feel what I'm saying? To throw you off, you know what I'm talking about, to buy into his garbage. There's nothing sporadic about us coming to being. You know what I'm talking about? This goes back to that Big Bang shit. You know what I'm talking about? Just all of a sudden, just a spot in nothingness, just sporadically exploding. You got all of this from that. You feel what I'm saying? Not just sporadically, but it's entirely, I can't read it, you understand, you see it, as humanity. New bottles for new wine, 1957. This concept was made into an academic discipline by Huxley. So they made a whole, again, something that they teach in their colleges. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Now, I want to go to this right here. Check this out. It says whatever the definition, it says whatever the precise definition, the regulative notion of transhumanism is the scientific enhancement. See that? The scientific enhancement of human beings. However, although the literature on transhumanism encompasses science and technology, it does so in terms of various distinct purposes. Hence, we cannot consider transhumanism as a single movement, but as several. Here it is, but as several with distinct purposes. See, some of the most discussed and debated are democratic humanism, transhumanism, libertarian transhumanism, exploratorianism. I don't know. Anyway, singulatorial that word. Let's briefly consider each of these movements. Check this out. Democratic transhumanism. And it reads, democratic transhumanism is chiefly propagated by James Hughes, 1961, an American Buddhist monk. And see, they're employing the idols into this as well. You know what I'm talking about? It says an American Buddhist monk, sociologist, and biotechnist. I guess I'm reading that correct. And the executive director, CEO of the Institute of Ethnics. See that? Ethnics and Emerging Techno, whatever you see it, which publishes articles on transhumanism and other areas of biotech. His magnum or whatever is Citizen Cyborg. Citizen Cyborg. And we know a cyborg is what? Matter of fact, let's see. I'm going to Google that real quick. What is a cyborg? Google the definition of citizen cyborg.
According to Wikipedia, Citizen Cyborg, Why Democratic Societies Must Respond to the Redesigned Human of the Future is a 2004 nonfiction book by bioethicist and sociologist James Hughes, which articulates democratic transhumanism as a socio-political ideology and program.
It says, must respond to the redesigned human of the future. Just like these 15-minute cities, man. Gonna put you all in a place where you can be tracked easily, more, not living off the grid. Like, you see these folks living in vans and, van life and, just, I see a lot of that on YouTube. So, so they're trying to round everybody up. And the best way to do that, man, to keep track of everybody, man, is, again, man, merging man with machine. And we see that all roads lead to Revelations, the 13th chapter, the 16th verse. We're going to get it here in a minute. But, yeah, it says Citizen Cyborg is a democratic socialist must respond to redesigned humans of the future in a 2004 nonfiction book. Let me see. And Social James, which articulates democratic transhumanism as a social political ideology and program. So they're going to implement this, and we're seeing it. All of these different programs and whatnot, they're actually putting them into, they're implementing them, more or less. They're implementing them. So let's see what a cyborg is. That's real quick. Let's see. Google the definition of cyborg.
Here's the definition of cyborg. A fictional or hypothetical person whose physical abilities are extended beyond normal human limitations by mechanical elements built into the body.
What they're telling you, huh? Built into the body. There's this movie called Upgrade where this guy got shot in his neck and made him a paraplegic. All he could move with his head. But and his wife was killed, right? In the melee. And they made it out like she was the target, but he was the target, And when in that movie you'll see one guy had a gun in his wrist. And that same guy he sneezed out what you call what do you call those nanobots. When he sneezes on you, he can kill you. You know what I'm talking about? Because he had nanobots. You know what I'm talking about? And that's all he had to do was sneeze on you. But he was very violent. You know what I'm talking about? He had a gun installed in his arm, and and it was all military. You know what I'm talking about? All these folks were military, except for the guy who got the most advanced chip. He had it placed, coincidentally, although there's no such thing as coincidence, in the back of his head. And that chip took over and he could do all sorts of stuff, enhancements. It says right here, cyborg, it says now in science fiction, a living being whose powers are enhanced by computer implants or mechanical body parts. Now, don't that sound familiar? Yes, it does. It sounds a lot familiar, very familiar. And this democratic transhumanism must be respond to redesign humans of the future. It says, now let's keep reading. It says democratic transhuman encourage governments. So listen to this now. Well, we've been watching our man, and I'm being cynical when I say that now. We've been watching our man Donald Trump go in there and just sign black book after black book after black book. And he hasn't taken out the time, nor has his administration, I would imagine, taken the time to see what that was all about. He just signing them, taking photo ops. You know what I'm talking about? They was already ready for him, in other words. And I'm gonna stand on what I'm about to say. It didn't matter who was given that executive seat, they were going to be doing the same thing. Their agendas are the same, whether they be Democrat or Republican. You so-called black folks, mainly you so-called blacks, and now Northern Kingdom as well, so-called Hispanics, you know what I'm talking about? You have got to wake up out of that madness, man. You've been sarnayed. You've been that violin, you know what I'm talking about, the piper, you know how he piped and he got all the rats out the city. You them rats. You know what I'm talking about? And they finna place you in 15-minute cities. And Gaza is supposed to be the poster child of this. If you look at those pictures of Gaza, man, they done bomb. Man, they look like, check it out. Just check it out. And now they finna reshape all that. You know what I'm talking about? This is finna be the dawn of a new era, But, yeah, it didn't matter who sat in that seat. They were going to be signing these books. So again, it says democratic transhumanism encourage governments to embrace transhumanist projects and purposes that technological and other scientific self-enhancements, should be accessible to everyone. Now, let me grab a scripture real quick. Let's go. Because I don't want to make this too long. It's really just a read, a little commentary, But let's tie this in through the scriptures, shall we? Let's see. Let's get this. This is Revelation 13th chapter. And this is going to be more or less the theme here in these latter days, man, because it is what it is. This is where we're at. I was listening to the elders, the apostle elders, Rakar and Apostle Elder Rumblai. They was talking, going in after they just had a camp then GMS Dallas with Elder Yasha Woman and it was talking about how the things that we're going over, they come off as repetitive, but nevertheless, we are to go over these things over and over and over again. If you get tired of listening and hearing it, go find your YouTube channel, find you something to do, because this is the cry that's going out, man. This is where we're at this particular time. This is where we're at, all this bombing of cities and all this war and all these restrictions and rights of them being taken from the people. These things have consequences, and these things are written in the scriptures, man. So of course we're going to touch on these things more consistently than ever. It's going to be more repetitive rather than ever. So it says right here, let's read that again. Democratic transhumanism encourage governments to embrace transhumanist projects and processes and purposes that technologically and other scientific self-enhancements should be accessible to everyone rather than only a rich elite. This is Revelations, the 13th chapter and verse 16, and it reads, and he calls it all. And that word all actually goes into, written it down here, what it goes into, matter of fact, let's just grab it. Let's get the word all. It says, Revelations, the 13th chapter, verse 16, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. So let's get the word all, because it says right here where it says self-enhancement should be accessible. So they're making this out like, this is going to be a good thing. Everybody should be, not just the rich, to make you feel like you somebody. You're a part of this. Because, truth be told, you the one who voted these people in. Now I'm being cynical. You ain't have a damn thing to do with who's sitting at that seat. But they're going to always make you feel like you're included in everything. That's the name of the game, to make you feel included. Now, the word all in the blue letter. Here we go.
Strong's G 3956. Pas.
And it goes into, let's see, pas, it says online biblical usage individually, each, every, all. It says each, every, any, all, the whole, everyone. Okay, let's get to the Strong's definition. It says, strong definition, pas, including all the forms of disillusion. Apparently a primary word, all, any, every, the whole, all manner of means, always, anyone, daily, everyone. That is, everyone. Let's read it again. Revelations 13 and verse 6, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell save he that have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Transhumanism, you know what I'm talking about? It should be made accessible to everyone rather than only a rich elite. Proponents of this approach are critical of the way in which power is distributed unequally See, they're making an argument. They're making the case that it's unequal, that they're able to have something you're not. Now, when did they ever want to make the playing field equal with the peasants, the people who mop floors and clean up bathrooms and stuff, who serve you starched up fries at KFC or something? Who in their right mind believe that these people want to make it everything equal and fair? See, that's that serenade. That's what you want to hear. That democratic process. You know what I'm talking about? But it's already written in the scriptures that this system was set up. This was just a trick. This was a trick, and you should not even want to take part in this, because they said that the human process, you know what I'm talking about, it was unintended. Matter of fact, let's roll back up to that where it says that. Let's go back up here where it says Huxley transhumanism is shorthand for evolutionary humanism. Evolutionary humanism is upspringly a philosophy centered on human evolution. Evolutionary humanists do not view human beings as the pinnacle of creation. Then they turn around and they're going to go down here. It says, but do not view the human being as the pinnacle of creation, but instead as an unintended product of natural selection. And then when you get down here, check this out. The democratic transhumanism, it says right here in the second paragraph, it says democratic transhumanism encourages governments to embrace transhumanism projects and purposes that technological and other scientific self-enhancement should be accessible to everyone rather than only a rich elite. Proponents of this approach are critical of the way in which power is distributed unequally. See that? Based on gender, race, class, religion, and other categories. They insist that people should have equal access to transhumanist projects. Now, and then they advocating for you. Well, this ain't no but some trickery. That's all this is, man. This is trickery at its finest. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, it says, disregarding such factors, Hughes having such unequal access to transhumanist project. Disregarding such factors, Hughes also emphasized the importance of having grantors of these things. Technological progressives like social democrats in general believe democratic requirements, strong guarantees of civil liberties, talking about you Jakes, because see, let's keep it honest. The true citizens of the United States, they didn't have to advocate for civil rights. They didn't have to advocate for anything civil. So when you see civil, it's talking about your ass. Be mindful when you read that you know what these words mean, so you get a better sense of what's being said. You know what I'm talking about? Instead of guessing at it, It says strong guarantees for civil liberties and minority rights. That is, and minority rights. It even bagged it up. And relatively, I can't pronounce that word, distribution of wealth and power, a strong state accountable and transparent to its citizens, and a process for deliberation and discussion making open to all competent persons. See that? To all competent persons. Presidential candidates in 16 words most influential promotes libertarian trans. This is another political ideology. See, they didn't turn this thing political because that's where the people minds are at anyway. I'm Democrat, I'm Republican. So they turn it into a political thing so that it'll best suit, your narrative. You know what I'm talking about? And I think the libertarians, they had what they call a liberal group as well, So you don't not only just have Democrat and Republican, you do have a liberal faction of the government, although they're small at its best, but they do exist, which name suggests synthesis, and that just means problem solving. You know what I'm saying? I can't pronounce it. Libertarians and transhuman libertarians believe that all transhuman projects should aim at the good of a person's life. Now, hold up, at a person's life. Now we got to go back to that little clip real quick.
giving it a clear grasp of the physical world. And with robots now run by neural nets, there may be an unspoken lie that we know how they work and we're completely in control. I'm sure Altman wants to lead the AI race so he can steer it in a positive direction.
The increase in quality of life that AI can deliver is extraordinary. We can make the world amazing. We can cure diseases, we can increase material wealth, we can help people be happier, more fulfilled.
And by winning, he'll be
And all of those things right there, they ignite the imagination of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Why? Because you're at the bottom of the totem pole. We can increase wealth. They talking about making this a equal thing. Am I right? We just read it. Let's go back to it then, since, I could be making this up. So let's go back. Where it says right here, where it says again, democratic transhumanism encourages governments to embrace transhumanistic projects and processes that technological and other scientific self-enhancements should be accessible to everyone rather than only a rich elite. Proponents of this approach are critical of the way in which power is distributed unequally based on gender, race, class, religion, and other categories. They insist that people should have equal access to transhumanist projects, disregarding such factors. Hughes also emphasized the importance of having, these things: technological progress, social general belief, democratic requirements strongly guarantees what civil liberties and minority rights. So this is a pitch at you. So they already got the groundwork laid out. And again, they wrap it up in a politic gift bag. It's wrapped up in politics. You see what I'm saying? It's something that your ancestors, your mothers and your fathers, your grandparents, they fought for, selling you that stale ass cookie. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, it says, check this out. So it says, let's get back to the libertarian project should aim at the good of a person's life, that is his or her well-being, but also that the principles of self-ownership, see, again, aiming at you, and the free market are that word of the right to enhancement. In addition, they strongly assert that any attempt to limit the right to pursue transhumanism projects is a violation of what? Civil rights and civil liberties. Again, the so-called white man has not come on. He didn't have to fight for civil rights. So that's talking about you. Make no mistake about it. This is a pitch for you, wrapped up in politics, which you fought for. They was always, when they created that Constitution, it was made by free white men who own land. This didn't have nothing to do with you. Your opportunity to participate on the political stage or the world stage, for lack of better words, came through civil rights. So this is talking about you. Let's not get beyond ourselves. You know what I'm talking about? Civil liberties. They also reject some public policies and laws advocated by democratic transhumanism because they fear the state will steer or limit the choices of individuals. Libertarians transhumanism argue that libertarian transhumanism will produce greater prosperity, development, and in general, the best outcome for society. See that in that age-old argument, they don't want you to have nothing. More prosperity. He just said it. And as a matter of fact, let's go back to it. We figure to close out. I think the point been made. I've got one more precept, but let's go back to it because he said that in this clip,
AI race so he can steer it in a positive direction.
The increase in quality of life that AI can deliver is extraordinary. We can make the world amazing. We can cure diseases, we can increase material wealth, we can help people be happier, more fulfilled.
And by winning.
And that's all Jake want to be: happier, more fulfilled. These are all the things that tickle Jake's fancy. There's a scripture where it says, matter of fact, let me see. Preach unto me smooth things. Let's see, real quick. This is Isaiah. Let's see. Therefore, it says, this is Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 10. It says, verse 9, it says, let me start at verse 8. This is Isaiah. No, let me go to Isaiah 30 and 7. It says, for the Egyptians shall help in vain. That's talking about these people here. They are the modern day Egyptians. They're in control. You know, talking about when we was in servitude or slavery under the Egyptians, you know, talking about, if you look at some of the things that they did, man, you know, talking about, they were not in favor of us. You know, talking about, they didn't do anything that would benefit us. In fact, our chores became more rigorous, more burdensome, you know what I'm talking about? And to the point where the Lord had to deliver us up out of there. And that's what he's about to do now. And this spiritual Egypt, Sodom, and so forth, you know what I'm talking about? This is what is about to happen now. Only difference is only 1/3 of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are going to be granted salvation. I mean, it's granted to the whole nation, but only 1/3 of you are going to take advantage of it. Just put it like that, you know. And Lord willing, you are the hopefully elect. So Isaiah 30 and 7, it says, for the Egyptians shall help in vain. So all of these things right here are vain attempts to win you over to be able to easily to not put up such a big fight when this thing comes rolling down and it be made mandatory. You know, these steps, these increments that they're putting in place, you know, to my, you know, will align with your wanting to assimilate. You feel what I'm saying? This is what they're betting on. This is what they're hoping on. But again, it's all in vain. It's worthless. You know what I'm talking about? Because if you do so, if you do make him your arm, you know, your savior, you know, the society, the people who run the society, you're gonna have to answer to the Lord in his wrath. You so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans who have lost faith and patience. So let me read this. Isaiah 30 and 7. For the Egyptians shall help in vain and to no purpose. All these different purposes in there that he's talking about. You should have equal rights, and we're going to make you more profitable. You're going to have more money. You're going to be happy. We can cure diseases. And he's the father of all of that. You feel what I'm saying? Now he's setting himself up to be the hero. It says, for the Egyptians shall help in vain and to no purpose. Therefore have I cried concerning this. Their strength is to set still. It says, verse 8, now go, write it before them in a table and note it in a book. And it's the Holy Scriptures, man. We see it, you know. We're reading this as we watch it be made manifest day in and day out, that it may be for the time to come forever and ever. Verse 9, this is a rebellious people, you know what I'm talking about? Lying children that will not hear the law of the Lord Yahweh. Verse 10, this is the point, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceit. It says, get you out of the way, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. So they're telling us to move out the way, man. We ain't, you know, one Jake was on, what was that, TikTok talking about, I could prove that ain't no God. You feel what I'm saying? These are the people, these are the mindsets that the Lord is going to destroy ultimately. You feel what I'm saying? A so-called black man was on TikTok talking about he can prove that there ain't no God. And he went to the same old argument, you know, why would a God do this and then he'll let children die? You know what I'm talking about? All that old madness there. Proverbs 28 and 5, roughly paraphrasing. Wicked men, they understand not judgment. They don't understand it. But the righteous man who seek after the Lord, roughly paraphrasing, he understand all things. So the Lord is going to get rid of all of this ignorance, all this want to hear the smooth things, all of this, these people who are going to line themselves up with this, you know, with these enhancements and all this. You know, you can see them lining up now, you know. And I got one more I'm going to close out. This is Isaiah 32. And straight to the point. This is Isaiah 32 and 7, and it reads, it says, this is 37 and 5, and it reads, the vile person shall be no more called liberal, nor the churl said to be bountiful. For the vile person will speak valiantly, and his heart will work iniquity. To practice hypocrisy and to utter error against the Lord Yahweh, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. Verse 7, it reads, the instrument also of the churl are evil. He devises wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speak right. See that? And that word churl goes into the Hebrew word is kayala, churl, and it means ungenerous, stingy, miserable, niggardly. It says grudgingly mean about spending or granting. You know, now he's promising more material wealth, cures from sicknesses that he calls, more wealth. That the top 1% of the 1% got all the money, got 96% of the world, 90% of all the wealth. You know what I'm talking about? And then the other 10% of the wealth is spread amongst the people of the world. He's stingy, ungenerously stingy, and he's miserable. He's mean, all of the above. He's a niggardly. He's a nigger, for a lack of a better word. But again, you know, this lesson was inspired by, like I say, the head of our camp, Brother Yaitazar, Mississippi Gulf Coast, going into the Gaza Project 2035. It just a thread just led me off into this transhumanism, you know, which ultimately is just going to lead to the mark of the beast. Anyway, I rambled on long enough. Lord willing, it was edifying. I would pray that that it was edifying, that you was able to receive and something out of it. But with that, I'm going to close out by giving infinite honor, praise, and glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elder apostles as well as the elders of Great Millstone. With that, shalom.